Chris Bumstead, great to have you.
Great to be here.
First question, in your career, have you ever cheated with your weight or height? Did you inject something in your feet or in your head? Did you wear a wig?
I've thought about it, but no, I couldn't, sadly not. Luckily, I was the same height for a long time, and I was the right height, but I didn't.
You're aware of the whole discussion going on now?
I am, yeah, I've heard of it. I've been close, so I understand the fear he's probably fearing right now. And I used to do an inversion table, dead hangs, see a chiropractor, crack my back before going up there, like everything I could, just to make sure I didn't lose. Because sometimes in prep, sometimes you lose a little bit of height. But yeah, I've been hearing what's going on. Do you think they're actually going to go through it and hide him in?
I think so.
Or do you think it's going to be washed away and they're not going to do
it? I even saw some like conspiracy theories that some people think now that Mike is maybe the favorite to win. They started it, and they never were so serious with you. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm asking.
Oh, they think everybody had the wrong height. Now they're carrying it so he doesn't win.
Right.
Interesting.
Something like that. I think it's...
That means no one else would make it either, though. Then they'd have no one on stage.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So how happy are you don't have to struggle with weight and height this peak week?
It's like a blessing and a curse, I guess you could say. There's good and bad parts of it. There's a lot I miss. It's fun having a challenging, singular, specific goal that you are working towards. Not many people have like such a simple thing to put a lot of effort into. There's a lot of meaning and purpose you can find in that. So it's sad to have that gone. But even when I see some people now, like in peak week, I was with Ryan Terry a few weeks ago, and just the way he's locked in. We have a few guys here on prep, and they're weighing all their food, and just like they're pulled away a little, like unsocial as you get near the end in prep and everything. And those little pits, I'm like, I'm happy I'm not doing that anymore, especially with my family now. It's like I'm more present in day-to-day life. I have more energy to do things and be focused on something other than my body. It's very selfish inward sport. You're always thinking about yourself. The next meal, am I recovered enough? Am I my energy? Am I looking good enough? Am I training? You're constantly thinking about yourself. So it's nice to have that pressure off my mind for sure.
So apart from peak week, how has life changed since last year?
It's interesting because over the last 3 years, I stopped just being a bodybuilder and I had stuff coming in, like I had business obligations, started a business, moved to Florida, had all these things going on. So 6 to 8 months of my year were like busy traveling, being in office, doing things, and then I would lock in for prep. So this year it just felt like the year just like flew by because instead of 6 to 8 months, it was just 12 months of just a regular life like that. And I still train and do my thing, but diet is really the biggest thing that has changed. So in terms of a year not being in peak week right now, I almost didn't even notice. If someone was like, the Olympia's in 3 weeks, like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know. I was barely paying attention to what time of year it was, what was going on. I was super present, I guess, in my current life. And I'm very busy. So it's hard to keep up with things sometimes, but it's been different, but I feel very at peace. There's no like longing or missing of anything right now. I reflect back on how incredible my journey was in the whole experience. And I'm like, my 20s were incredible. My 20s were like getting to the Olympia, trying to win the Olympia, and then winning the Olympia for my entire 20s. And like, that was incredible. And I'm so grateful for it. And I'm also grateful it's behind me.
Have you ever thought about, you won the Olympia 6 times. Mm-hmm. So you tied with Dorian Yates. You're still young. Maybe you could have won another one and tie with Arnold and Phil.
Yeah.
Or even get better than Ronnie and Lee Haney, win 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Have you regrets, or have you ever thought about it?
No. I've thought about it, but I have no regrets. In my mind, it's like, yes, I could have gone 7 to tie with Phil, and then 8 to be with Lee Haney, and then 9 to be the best, and then 10 to be ahead of it. And it's like, when's enough? And what does it really change? For like a certain niche of people to think of you differently who don't even know me as a human, to be like, Chris has more wins, and it's not even in the same category. I don't think anyone would really compare classic physique. If I had 10 wins in classic physique, people wouldn't say I was better than Lee Haney, given it was open or Ronnie Coleman.
But still Iris Kyle, right? She made 10, I think.
Did she get 10? Exactly. People don't talk about that either. They talk about Ronnie and Lee and Phil even. So I think A, different division, B, enough is never enough, you know? If your goal in life is striving towards some external circumstance or award to like make you feel like you've achieved enough, it will never feel like enough. Even if I had 100 wins, I'd still just go, what about 101? You know, so at some point you just got to decide what's most important to you.
So how did you make this decision? So why did you say 6 and now it's fine?
I mean, ironically, I used to say when I was like, I think after my third Olympia win, second or third Olympia win, I used to say, I want 6 because of Michael Jordan, not because of any bodybuilders, because he had 6 rings, and I wanted to retire before I was 30 years old. Because it's always been very important to me to have a family, and I want to be very present with my family. Bodybuilding's hard on your health. I want to make sure I have my 30s to like recuperate and create a body of good health. And then as my career went on, it just like seemed to naturally flow into being like I manifested it being exactly like that, where in 2023, when I got my 5th title, I was almost done then. I was like ready to retire. I started to fall less in love with the journey and just look forward to the show day, the excitement, being on stage, all the amazing moments that came from like being under those lights and competing against the people and like the calling their name and all that things. And it was less like about the diet, the training in the gym. It started to feel a little bit tedious, you know, like it started to become like I was training to win the Olympia, and that became like its own pressure rather than in my youth. And in my first couple of wins, it was just, I love to train. I want to see what my body can do. I want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and like be more and more and more. And then once I achieved all that, I was like, oh wait, I've like achieved a lot and it's brought a lot of beauty into my life, but it's not really adding anymore. It's kind of like I had squeezed the juice out of it and there wasn't as much beauty anymore. And I think it was after my 5th win, I had to really sit with myself and be like, feel different day to day doing this. So like, it's important for me to reflect on why, you know, if my values are changing as I'm getting older and I care less about putting so much time, energy, and sacrificing so much time and mental health and physical health into something and it doesn't feel worth it, then why am I doing it? Is it for other people? Is it to have people tell me that I got 7 over X or I got 8 over Phil or whatever, or is it for myself? And it was a long time of reflection, and I almost retired then, but I wasn't ready. It felt like I was like pulling away from something I didn't understand yet. So I went for 6. And then throughout that prep, I just like, sometimes just when you know, like when you fall in love and you're like, I know this woman is the one that I love. Sometimes you're doing something and you're like, I'm done with this. You know, I'll close this chapter, finish the show, and then I'm done. So there's a lot of self-reflection and alone time and thinking about it. But it was a struggle for 2 years to think about it. And now I've pretty well understood what's best for me.
And what about beginning? When did you realize this? I mean, you started because you wanted to train. You liked the process. You liked training and having that physique. And when did you realize it could be a career or you could be maybe the best?
It was 2017. I was still in school. I had a job. I worked at a gym and a supplement store. And I was going to university in Canada. And then I qualified for the Olympiad that year. And I was like, maybe this is something where I could get like money from this and not have to do all this other stuff. So I went down to part-time school. I got a contract. I was making $28,000 a year from my first supplement sponsor, and that felt like all the money in the world. You know, I'm like, I don't need school. Who needs this? And now I'm like, I should still finish. My parents want me to finish school. I'll still do it. And then I went to the Olympia and I came second. And then I got another contract. I started traveling. It was pulling me out of my ability to be in school. And I was like, I need to kind of decide.
You became second in your first?
Yeah.
That was 17 then, right?
17. Yeah, against Brian.
Yeah, and 18, the same thing.
Yeah. So I believe it was the first year Brian won, 2017. And then he won again in 18. But yeah, after that Olympia, I was just like, I had to decide. Because right now I was kind of like spreading my energy across, like trying to do school, pulling away from this. But I want to dive into bodybuilding. But if I want to do, I could do bodybuilding in school, but to make it a career, that's going to be a whole other level of energy and time that would sacrifice school. And I was like, I'm 20 years old. I can go back to school when I'm 30 if I really want to. So I'm just going to go all in on it. And then I did that. I dropped out of school mid-semester, got ready for the next Olympia, and then everything kind of took off from there.
I remember the first time I saw you was when I was still competing in 18, and you became second. So you didn't even win a title. Yeah. But you already were like the biggest star in the division. What do you think is the reason for that? It's
really hard for me to say, being the one on the other side, but I think specifically in 2018 too, that was the year where like I was quite confident that I was going to win that Olympia at the beginning of my prep. And then I got really sick and I was in the hospital and I went through this really hard time. I thought I was going to have to stop competing. I didn't think I was even going to make it to that Olympia. I shouldn't have even done that Olympia, but I was being stubborn and dumb bodybuilder. As we do, we don't like to give up. And then going through that experience, that really like humbled me. Like an experience of like pure powerlessness where I was in the hospital and I was afraid for my life for an extended period of time. And I didn't know what was going on.
In 18?
In 18, yeah. Okay. In prep. And then I was able to get through it, work through it. That was when I got diagnosed with my autoimmune disease. I'd say I experienced autoimmune conditions. I don't like to label myself as having a disease. But then after that, it was like this level of like, wow, anything can be taken away from you at any time. Like I was like, I came second last year. I look better this year. I'll win. It's like, no, nothing's promised. It's just literally every day is like a gift. And I shared on YouTube my experience of when I was in the hospital. And I feel like that was a huge shift in my career of being like, okay, I'm going to share my story more than I think most bodybuilders share their story on YouTube and Instagram, but I want to do it real. You know, I went through a hard time and I struggled and I'm going to share that struggles. And I shared it, I talked about it. And unintentionally, I started crying on that video. And I was like crying because it was such a challenging mental battle for me in the experience I hadn't really processed. And as I cried on the video, I was like, oh, this isn't going on YouTube. Like, I don't want people to see this. And then I was like, you know what? This is real. I'm going to put it out there. And then I posted that video and people just loved the vulnerability, I guess. But yeah, I think in the beginning of my career, it was just the ability to share my story in an authentic way. I wasn't trying to fluff anything up and be like, I'm hardcore, I'm always motivated, I'm this, that, I'm going to win, I'm going to be the best. Like, if I didn't feel like that, I wasn't going to say that. I was just speaking how I felt truthfully and sharing my experience as a bodybuilder and an average kid who had a lot of self-doubt but knew how to work hard and was managing the two. And I think a lot of people related to that because not many people have that mindset where they're like, every day I wake up feeling like a killer and getting after it. You know, most people wake up every day and like, fuck. But feeling like that and still doing the work is what makes a champion. It's not thinking there's a version of yourself that feels great every day. So I think just me being able to share that honestly was kind of a cheat code for me in a world of bodybuilding that wasn't really like that at the time.
So where did that mindset come from? I always find it very interesting. I always ask pro bodybuilders, when was the point you decided to do this, like more than others to compete and you know, give everything? Where's the point of decision, and how did you get these that mindset?
How did I get the mindset to want to work so hard at something, or
like go a step further than just being a bodybuilder and looking good, but say I want to win championships, I want to be the best. What's the reason behind that? Is it parents or role models or upbringing?
I feel like on one level, it's the natural progression of success. You know, like if you work hard and you see success, you're like, if I work harder,
not
I'll see
everybody
more.
does it. I mean,
yeah,
to that extent.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is a lot of it probably came from a lot of feelings of self-doubt and like unworthiness of being like, oh, like I felt like something was lacking in me and I needed to like prove to myself and to the world that I could be accepted and loved and seen in other ways. And I think a lot of people, not just myself, I don't know. I don't speak for anyone else, but for myself, it was an ability to work hard at something, get attention, be accepted somewhere, be seen, be valued somewhere, and feel important. And I think as human beings, we all want to feel like seen and connected to people. And when we don't feel that, we're like, well, if I get success here and this will make me feel better. If I get this here, if I win that, if I'll have more muscle, more this, more that, I'll be more. I'll be worth more. You know, I'll have more value. And I think that's probably subconsciously what drove me a lot. And I didn't understand it at the time because I was young and hadn't done a lot of introspection in the moment. But over time in my career, I started to realize like there's things that I appreciate more than maybe I should, like the validation from others or social media or things I'm getting externally rather than internally. And I had to really ask myself like why that was so important to me and what was missing in myself that I didn't need that. But I think hurt people often work very hard. You know, when you're trying to prove something or to yourself or others, it drives you to be more because it's important for all human beings. And then also probably why I wanted to retire from competing when I did, because as I worked through that stuff and it wasn't what I needed anymore, and I started to build real relationships both with family, friends, and myself of acceptance, I was like, well, I don't need bodybuilding for this anymore. Like, I still love the process, but what it's sacrificing isn't bringing me what it used to bring me anymore. So why am I still here?
There's a different life now for you.
Yeah.
What's your everyday life like now? You're a businessman, you're a family man, both?
Mm-hmm. Like day in the life kind of thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I travel a lot now, so if I'm traveling twice a month, 2 weeks kind of look randomly sporadic. Like, we're here at the Olympia all week. I go home for a week, then I'm in Dubai for a week, and that's like bodybuilding travel. But then for like Raw, Bum Energy, my businesses will do like meetings with Walmart or vitamin shops or like places where we want to place our product. So we have to travel around for that. But when I'm home lately, especially having a kid now, I usually get up about 6 in the morning and I try and train at like 7, and then I can be home by 8:30, and then my daughter gets up at about 8. So my wife's got her up by then, and I can spend an hour and a half with her in the morning, eat breakfast with my family, and just be with them. I've tried to structure a lot of my day to spend as much time with my daughter as possible, because it's hard when you're busy. And then I typically go into the office, where we have a warehouse in Florida, in the office for our content team, warehouse for everything, sales team, marketing, everything is in there. And I'll spend like 5 hours there on average, Monday to Friday. And then I head back home and typically take my daughter to the park, go in the pool, eat dinner, put her to sleep, read a book, and I'm in bed by 9:30, 10, asleep, and then repeat.
So it doesn't get boring.
No, I love it. Yeah. Not enough time in a day.
Yeah. So you never have thought about coming back? You have been asked like 5
I get
million
asked
times,
a lot.
maybe?
I've been asked 5 million times, but no, I have no inclination to do it right now. I feel like I did everything I could with my career, you know? I think people who want to come back feel like it's because they didn't do what they could with their career. I did more than I ever imagined I could have done with my career. I worked really hard. I'm very proud of it. I finished on top.
But it could still happen. I mean, Arnold, he did 6, and then he retired young, like you did. And I think his life wasn't boring.
Yeah.
But he came back.
Maybe his life was so not boring because he was trying to find something to make himself feel like, I'm not okay being bored, you know? But right now, I've gotten to the point where I love being bored. I wish I was bored more, honestly. I'm not bored enough. So
now that Urs, as we say in Germany.
Urs,
he switched to Open.
Mm-hmm.
You said the Open top 10 would look a lot different if all the good classic guys, or some of the good classic guys, would go to Open. Have you ever thought about what could have been if you were competing in the Open? I mean, the last competition I saw you in Prague, and was pretty close to Martin.
Yeah.
So, looking back, do you think if you tried it, you could have won the Open Olympia maybe?
I don't know about winning the Olympia. I think it's hard to say because my body was starting to get injuries and have stuff going on in classic physique, and there's a lot more that comes with me putting on like 20, 30 pounds of muscle to compete in the Open. So I don't know, honestly. I haven't like done like a deep dive brain analysis of if I thought I could have won the Olympia. I can't picture myself ever being big enough to beat Samson. Like standing beside someone like that. He's about the same height as me, but like
I remember
50 pounds more muscle.
You took with the Rami in Kissimmee gym.
With Rami, yeah.
Yeah, it was not that bad.
Really? I thought I looked like a shrimp.
He's a monster, right? But
he's a monster. Yeah, he was big. No, I would have been very curious to see what a year or two competing or training like an open bodybuilder would have been. Because once I died down for the Olympia, I'm losing muscle. I'm so flat. I'm kind of like, I'm down, then trying to pull back up to do that Prague show. I know I wasn't at like what I could have even been from that. And if I had a year of like trying to grow, which I didn't try and grow for Classic because I was at my weight limit, I was curious considering Martin came 4th last year at the Olympia and I was close to him, you know. Arguably could have won that show in a different circumstance with different judges, but it is what it is. So it would have been cool to see. I think I could have come top 3 in a couple of years if I was really trying. That's probably my best, least humble guess I would give.
Martin won. That was your last show. You won six times in a row, the Mr. Olympia, and your last show you lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Does it hurt, or is it? I mean, does it feel like you damaged your legacy?
No. I wasn't doing it for my legacy. I was doing it for myself because it was something I just wanted to to try. And I don't think people understand the difference between competing for an Olympia as a champion versus doing a show in Europe in a division you've never done with no expectations. Like every year there's so much pressure. You need to show up, you need to be perfect, you need to be the best in the world, and that's it. You know, and like a little bit of the fun kind of comes out of that. Whereas Prague, I was in an Airbnb with 8 of my friends. I was in a country I'd never been in. I was in Europe for the first time competing. Fans were excited and crazy. No one knew what I was going to look like. No one thought I was going to win. There was no expectation. It was just like, it was fun, you know? And even before I got on stage, I had these like nerves that I hadn't felt in a long time before getting on stage, of like a nerves of unknown, of no expectation, just unknown, of like, oh my God, I could come second call out here, you know? And then sitting there when they were calling our names and stuff, I was like, wow, I'm usually expecting to hear my name. And it was a different feeling. And then when I didn't hear my name, it was like a disappointment. And I hadn't felt that disappointment in 7 years, arguably, you know? So I think it was honestly a really, really beautiful experience for me to finish my career like that. And maybe it's weird and people don't understand that, but just that whole journey of doing that and the roller coaster of emotions and stress and nerves and disappointment that I felt from that it's part of the human experience. And, you know, I don't regret it at all.
You coined that phrase, pressure is a privilege.
I didn't coin it, but I said it. Yeah.
You didn't coin it? But
I'm not the
I know it
first
from
to say
you.
it. Yeah.
So, yeah, what do you mean by that?
I guess it was just like a switch in perception, you know, like at the end, a lot of it was pressure of what took away the joy of bodybuilding. You know, I was kind of speaking to myself and trying to help myself learn that pressure is a privilege, because there's different levels of pressure, of course. I understand some people have pressure that's like to survive, it's unwell, it's very challenging, and they wouldn't call it a privilege. But in terms of working hard at something where people expect something great of you because you've proven that in the past, I think that is a privilege. And I don't think many people can often hold that up for a very long period of time. And it makes a very strong-willed mind to be able to have a high expectation of yourself. And it's a privilege because people believe you can do great things. You know, to have proven to the world that you can do great things and that they trust and believe that you will continue to do it again and again. In my opinion, that's a privilege. You know, it's an ability to work hard with a group, a mass of people who believe in you too. Just kind of a cool experience. And in my opinion, I feel like anything that ties in human emotion is something that I just love. Being able to feel things, like feeling deep emotion is being human. Like being with my daughter when she does something, she's laughing. I have so much love for her. Being on the Olympia stage and then that moment of just like, are they going to call my name? Are they not? Or the first time when they open the curtains up for your first ever show and you're like so scared to stand in front of a crowd, half tanned in underwear and stuff. Like those little moments of just feeling, I think, is what makes life so exciting. And I think pressure is one of those feelings of just like, not everyone gets to experience like a beautiful side of pressure. So it always felt like a privilege.
So we're talking about big expectations. For the German fans, of course, Urs is the main thing now. How do you think he will finish at this year's Olympia in the Open for the first time?
This year's Olympia? If I had to guess, I would put him at 8th place. 7 or 8.
That's pretty good. So top 10 for sure?
I think he'll be top 10, yeah. Yeah, my optimistic guess is 7, 8.
So what about the rest of the Olympia? How different does it feel now? You're not competing, but you're still here. You're still in the business.
Yeah.
How do you think about this year's Olympia? Like, I think it's pretty interesting because we have 4 former Mr. Olympias competing in the Open, which is the first time, I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't know? I think it's the first time, and it's also, I think it's might be the first time a Mr. Olympia who got beaten can regain his title. Is that right? Is that English?
And then Phil or Jay Cutler did that.
He's the only one.
He's the only one?
Yeah, who lost and won
got
it back. Yeah.
True.
So this could happen again this time.
Yeah.
Is it exciting for you still to watch the Olympia?
It's exciting, yeah. I've never watched the Olympia, like in person. I've only ever been in Vegas to compete in the Olympia, so I've never been here as a spectator. So it's still exciting. I might be a weird bodybuilding fan, but I never watched bodybuilding shows. And I think maybe because I just wanted to like focus on what I was doing, I didn't want to like skew my thoughts and perceptions of watching bodybuilding, but I didn't very often watch a show or get that excited for it. I just liked the experience of what the work I was putting in myself. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen for sure. It will be a good Olympia. This is an Olympia where, at least in Classic and Open, I wouldn't bet on anyone. I wouldn't put money on anyone winning because I have no idea what's going to happen. It's super up in the air. So it'll be interesting. If Mike wins, if Mike makes height, I think he'll win. And I think Ryan Terry's going to win men's physique, but the Open, I really don't know.
So you think Mike is going to win?
I think if he makes his height and weight, it's hard to me to imagine someone beating him given his performance last year.
How did it feel for you? I don't know about the previous years, but Mike, it wasn't. He took some points from you, right?
Yeah.
So how did that feel? Was that new to you? Or?
Not new because it's happened multiple times, but it was fun. It created a little it wasn't like I wouldn't want my last show to just walk on stage, pose, walk off, win, like no like excitement of someone pushing me. You know, it created more excitement for the fans. Mike came out of nowhere. I didn't even know who he was before the show. So to have this young guy from Germany come out of nowhere and push me like that definitely made it more exciting. You know, we compete because we like hard things. Bodybuilding is a difficult sport. In competition, you want someone good. I'm sure a lot of the guys are probably pissed I retired because they don't want to win like that. They want to win because they want to beat me. You know, that's what a competitive spirit is. So him being on that stage looking as good as he did last year and pushing me like that, it made it fun for sure, and I wasn't expecting it.
Okay, one last question. I know you're a car guy. So V8 or flat six? What's your favorite?
6.
The German
Just
one?
because Porsche.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You like Porsche?
I'm team Porsche all day.
Nice.
Yeah. I've driven a bunch of my friends' cars and a few cars, and I get in a Porsche and I'm like, like I could drive a $600,000 car, you get a $200,000 Porsche, and it still, to me, is much better.
Oh, German fans will like this.
Yeah. Big Porsche guy.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you. Yeah, thank you.